This is the 70mai A810, a real 4K ultra budget dash cam based on a Sony Starvis 2 sensor. We're going to look at this camera's design, build quality, user interface, and most importantly, the video quality to tell you whether or not it's worth it to buy this camera. Let's go! The 70mai A810 is among the best cameras that I've tested for video quality, both day and night. But 70mai continues to use a battery instead of a supercapacitor, which makes it hard to recommend this camera to everyone. Just a note that I've purchased the front camera only, so this is just a review of the front camera. The included accessories are super minimal. It's enough to get started, but I wish 70mai had included a static sticker, as well as an extra strip of VHB tape. If you mess up on the install, there's no extra tape. Gonna have to go out and purchase more. The build quality of the A810 is surprisingly good considering the camera is made entirely out of plastic. It feels heavy and solid, despite a little bit of hollow noise when I tap on it. There are 4 buttons on the face and this giant screen. The side of the camera has a power button, while the other side has the micro SD card slot and rear camera plug. The lens rotates up and down, but not side to side. Setting up the camera is pretty straightforward, thanks in part to that giant screen. The user interface guides the user through the setup really easily, but there are some changes I would make right away. First of all, the camera comes with record audio turned off by default. It's simple enough to enable that by pressing the left face button on the recording screen. Second, I would turn off the logo setting as I dislike having company branding on everything I do. And finally, I'd recommend turning on the screen timeout, otherwise the camera will just keep that screen on constantly and it can be pretty bright at night. Now, as I mentioned at the start of this video, the camera is based on a battery instead of a supercapacitor. My suspicion is that helps 70mai hit a lower price point, but it does make me a little concerned for reliability long term, especially for people who are in warmer climates. Batteries hate heat. It kills them, and dashcams are constantly exposed to high heat during the summer, from direct sunlight or from the processing power required to create 4K video. This is a camera I would not recommend to people in hot desert climates due to the battery alone. All that being said, take a look at the video quality. That real 4K Sony Starvis 2 sensor isn't just a ton of buzzwords, it actually performs. These samples are shot in 4K HDR, which is the mode I would recommend most people use. Although license plates are still not guaranteed to be readable, especially in dimmer light, in the middle of the day, bright sunlight, in some cases I could even capture plates from one lane over, even with speed. That is super impressive. Not to mention the video quality is overall very visually appealing. The exposure, brightness, white balance, colors, these are all very pleasantly rendered. This is the kind of video quality where if I posted it onto a forum without any context, I'm pretty sure a ton of people would ask me, wow, what camera did you use? That looks amazing. Because it does. My only criticisms with the video quality are extremely minor. The wide-angle lens has quite a bit of distortion. The HDR mode does cause some ghosting in certain lighting conditions. I also think the shutter speed could be a little bit faster during the daytime to help better capture plates at speed, but that's also a complaint that I have with most dashcams on the market these days. I did also notice the occasional stutter and dropped frame, even after switching memory cards. Here's a good scene to compare dashcams. With a ton of trees over the road, it is a challenging scene to render for most cameras, and the A810 does a decent job of it. But there is a drop in quality due to the compression. How about a comparison between the Hawkeye U1 Pro and the A810? This isn't a direct comparison because the AU was shot at a different time, so the lighting is different. The Hawkeye U1 Pro is another 4K camera, although it's based on an older sensor and doesn't have the same HDR functions, which causes some pretty drastic differences in terms of the overall video quality. When it comes to night and low light, the A810 delivers among the best low light footage I've personally seen. Again, it's that Sony Starvis 2 sensor that really punches above its weight, with tons of detail and low noise. The night footage is brighter, more vibrant, and more detailed. Plates are more readable, and especially with HDR turned on, I'm surprised at the amount of plates that I could capture. Again, plate capture is not guaranteed, especially at speed. HDR does cause a bunch of smearing when bright and dark points meet, but it allows a faster frame rate for those bright spots, which means that even in some poor conditions, I could get a frame with usable plates here and there. My recommendation is always read the plates out loud if there is an issue, just in case. Well, it's time for some night footage, and we're crossing the Alex Fraser Bridge from North Delta into New Westminster. It's the usual bridge that I do these audio samples on, but I think we're going a bit slower than usual. Maybe if I get into the left lane, I'll be able to go a little bit faster past this line of traffic here. It's a pretty busy evening, Friday night, the Alex Fraser Bridge. The audio quality is excellent, but this is also the only camera I've ever owned that picks up wind noise when my defrost is turned on. Give it a listen. 70mai A810 audio sample as we're driving along River Road here through Richmond, BC. There's a couple quirks about this camera I wanted to discuss real quick, so listen up, they're pretty important. First of all, when you press the emergency record button, it does not lock the clip before you press the button, only whatever video is afterwards. So for example, now I've had to press the video twice in a row to lock these two clips, losing a couple seconds in between, but it did not lock anything before this clip. So if there was an incident and I press the lock button, it's kind of useless. The second quirk is an occasional stuttering in the 30 frames per second. That's not too bad, but it's worth bringing up anyways. If you do end up purchasing this camera because the rest of this review is very favorable, keep an extra memory card in the car with you. That way, any incidents occur, you can pause recording, turn off the camera, swap the memory cards, and ensure your video doesn't get overwritten. 70mai, if you're watching this, please fix the locked clip issue. This camera should lock a lot more before the button is pressed, plus a lot after, not just a couple seconds on either side. This is, in my opinion, a big firmware flaw, as most people's instinct after an accident is not going to be to fiddle around with their dash cam to find the lock clipped button. If they wait 10 seconds and think their camera has saved the footage, there's a chance it could overwrite that footage before they get home, depending on the memory card's capacity. And well, that's about it. Aside from the battery issue, almost everything that I've criticized could be fixed with a firmware update. And almost all of those issues are super minor anyways. The video quality is great, the audio quality is good, the build quality is decent, it's really easy to set up, and the camera's low price makes it a compelling choice for those who are new to dash cams. I just wish it had the super capacitor, then it would be easier to recommend to everyone, but if you live in the Pacific Northwest or somewhere with a moderate climate, this is a good choice as a starter dash cam. Thanks for watching, I hope this video was helpful. Like, share, subscribe, I'll see you in the next one.